Right, I'm here with George Wilkinson, Wilco, as all the fans know you. So, Wilco, you've got some exciting news to share with us all. You're decided to stay.
I have.
So, what brought you to that conclusion?
Um, at the end of the day, men's minutes is the most important thing, and I'm still reasonably young. And if I can just keep getting loads of games under my belt, hopefully this season add a few more goals and assists. We'll see what happens at the end of the next season. See maybe another year or maybe an opportunity will come.
Yeah,
That's how it's going.
yeah. I mean, of course, you've come through sort of the youth system, haven't you? Your local boy went to the grammar school and everything. And the club gave you an opportunity in the National League, and obviously in the league above. So, I suppose you know the club inside out.
Yeah, I mean, going through the academy, I never really thought I would get into. Bearing in mind we were in the National League at the time, I didn't think that was even possible just to jump straight up there. But at the time, it was Hess and Tyler, and obviously Mark Salman. They pushed me to it. Playing that season was just. I talked to the boys about it now. We look back at it and we're like, wow, we took it for granted because that league was so difficult at the time. But playing the stadiums we did, it was just second to none. Loved it.
Now, just tell me about the experience, what you learned from it, because of course it was very tough, wasn't it? I mean, it was during the COVID times. It was all well documented what happened, but as a young player, it must have been very difficult.
Yeah, it was difficult, but we were under the cosh of it when we started. I forgot how many points we were negative, but so it might have looked like worse from the outside, but to just play in front of that many fans, play against those teams, it was like quite like a privilege to do it. Like I said, I look back at it, and even though we did get relegated, we were in such a sticky situation as a club that personally, because I was just so young, I actually really enjoyed that season because it was my first season in men's football. Played a lot more than what I could ever have wished, and got a goal, a couple of assists, playing in front of thousands of fans. I mean, if someone told me that because I joined in January, if someone told me that at the start of the season, I I wouldn't believe it.
Yeah, I mean, I remember your goal at Wrexham. I mean, that's one for the show reel, isn't it?
Ball goes long into the area, headed away. Ransom couldn't get there. Cleared just about to Wilkinson. What a strike and what a goal that is! And what a way to get Dover back into the game.
Yeah, I don't think I'll ever top it. Best moment.
Now, of course, as I say, the club's been in tough times recently. I mean, obviously, the relegation last season, that must have been really difficult one to take.
Yeah, last season's was the older you get in football. Not saying like I'm a vet, but the older you get, it hurts a lot more. It looks worse on your CV as a footballer. So, like I said, first one didn't really hurt, and then survived National League South, and then going down to step three. It just two divisions. One's okay, two it hurts a lot more because Dover shouldn't be a club in step three. Not with the stadium, the fans, the way it's run. It's. I mean, I remember going to games when I was like 12 and being like a playoff team with Crystal Palace coming down, Sol
Yeah.
Campbell, Southend. I remember it all.
Yeah, I mean, they were happy memories, weren't they? So just tell us sort of, you were out what on the River End stand, were you, with all the other fans?
Oh yeah, I have a friend called Higgy, whose family are sponsor the Farriers, and I got to go up to the box and watch. And I remember I gave man of the match to Mitch Walker, obviously the goalie now. He was telling me to try and find the picture, but I can't find it anywhere.
Yeah, that must be great. So, 'cause since you've come back this summer, and Mitch is obviously back at the club. I mean, have you had a bit of banter with Mitch about that?
Yeah, I mentioned it the other day in the physio room just before we played Tunbridge, and it was just funny because I was probably looked like I was probably like 10, and he was maybe in his it went over in their prime, let's say. So we both laughed about it. He asked for the photo, but I just can't find it anywhere.
What were your fondest moments? I mean, obviously that Crystal Palace, getting to the third round and that FA Cup game, and as you say, winning the playoffs. It was Ebbsfleet, wasn't it? Just such happy memories.
Honestly, it's just I can't put the I don't know the team we watched, but going down to the pitch, you're just like starstruck. Like obviously, I'm playing with them now. It doesn't seem that like when we've had mascots. I'm like it's just me. It's nothing special, but that was me to Mitch. I remember seeing Ricky Miller, Ricky Modeste, and just being like, these are professional footballers. Where like, don't get me wrong, we're in step three now, so I couldn't imagine kids saying that about me and the other boys. So, but the game that we watched, that was like because I got to go on the pitch, gave it to him, and I was like, wow, this is big.
Now, of course, it's back to business now, isn't it? This is a difficult division, actually. A lot of people, understand that you can't just walk through it. Is that sort of the feeling that you're getting?
Yeah, I went on loan last season to Wingate and Finchley, who are in the same league we're in now, and yeah, the drop seems bigger than what it is because the standard, it's not going to be like I'm not going to sit here and go, we're going to smash the league. We want to, but it's just to win. Obviously, I've never done it. I've only been in a relegation team. To win a league, I can imagine it being as hard as anything. So, I mean, expectations are up there, but I'm not getting over myself. I just want to win as many games as possible. Take every game as it comes.
Now, obviously, you played two friendlies so far. You scored actually in the first one, didn't you, against Welling? So that must have been nice to get off the mark nice and early.
Yeah, that felt good. Obviously, I don't score a lot, so being like 1-for-1, I was like, okay, this is the season.
Yeah. Obviously, just the one defeat so far. So the friendlies have been pretty positive. But that, against Welling, that was a great result because that was against a team, of course, from a higher division. I mean, albeit against 10 men, but actually sometimes it's harder when you play against 10 men.
No, yeah, when they went down to 10 men, we for the next 10 minutes we struggled. But yeah, like I said, because of what the teams I've been in and seeing us play Welling, I was thinking, how's this going to go? Is it going to be a hard game? But yeah, we did what we had to do. And the last two pre-seasons I've been a part of, we were losing nearly every game, and it wasn't. I'm not like saying we had a worse team. It was I don't know what it was. It wasn't a worse manager. It wasn't a worse team. It just I don't know if it just didn't click with the players or I'm not really sure. But this season, off what was it? Like 4 out of 5. I mean, keep it going into the league. What can happen?
Yeah, and of course, Tonbridge are a decent side, and perhaps a bit sloppy at the back. Some of the defending in that game that sort of let the team down.
No, Tunbridge. I know the manager Jay Saunders, and I know probably about 4 of their players. And I remember playing them last season. They're a good side. That's the game where I thought this is going to be a hard game. Welling, obviously, I did think it would be hard, but not. Tunbridge was another level. They play good football, rotation. They've sharp players who have played higher. I just knew that was going to be a difficult game.
Obviously, Jake came in last season with the team in an absolute pickle, really. He did improve things in terms of the amount of goals that you conceded. It looked a bit more organised, and he seems to have taken that forward. And the recruitment looks good so far, doesn't it? Just tell us a little bit about Jake, working with him, and what's happening at the moment this summer with the recruitment.
I've only got positive things to say about Jake. Obviously, when he came in, it kind of sparked my season back because I missed the whole of the first season under the last manager. So when Jake came in and I was back in the team and then I started playing, it was just I can't thank him enough because at that time I was going on loan, was just sitting in the. I was just like I remember watching Maidstone away and I was with the fans like to try and show that I'm still Dover. It's like nothing bad, no bad blood. And then Jake comes in and I start playing again. And I play the next 25 games of the season. And again, yeah, got nothing bad to say about him. He likes structure, likes to keep it the back. So we're a very like man to man kind of team. If it's someone's man from a corner, you don't want to be that person who let your man go. I'm glad I'm on the edge of the box for corners.
And of course, there's been some good signings. Obviously Mitch and the lads from Whitehawk, they got the ball rolling. But there's been a number of decent signings, and they look good so far. What have you made of the new lads that have come in?
Yeah, brilliant. Like I said, I came in really nervous actually because obviously I know like Baps, Nick Adge, Youngie, Hatcher, Matty, Roman. So came in knowing I'd be close with them. So I've got like a group. But when I came in, everyone was mingling. And so like I couldn't just sit there with Baps on the side, just talking. So I had to talk to everyone. But again, it just seems all good because the new signings, everyone's talking, everyone's involving themselves before training. Training's been high standard, games have been good. It's just, there's, again, nothing bad to say. Everything's going well so far. Hopefully it continues.
Yeah, and there seems to be more of a positivity amongst the fans because they're actually seeing that, aren't they? And they're appreciating what's
Yeah,
going on because it's been really difficult for them. I mean, the last, 4 seasons or so, that they've been so difficult for the fans to have to stomach, hasn't it?
I know. I can only feel bad as a player, part of it. And that's what I mean. I don't want to. I don't know what it was. I really don't. The teams I've played in, I've enjoyed playing with those teams. They're great footballers. People have gone off and played for higher leagues. It's just, it's like when I see the fans on Twitter, like, what's going on? What's this? It's like, even as a player, you're in the midst of it, and you're like, what is going on? You don't know what's going on. I guess it's something I'll learn to know the more I play, the more seasons, the older I get. Because my first 2, 3, I was like, what is going on? Because in training we're amazing, but then we just couldn't. I don't know, just couldn't do it on the pitch.
Yeah. And sometimes it's down to game management as well, isn't it? I remember obviously that season with a very young side in the National League, but you got beaten late on or let late goals in, didn't you? And that's down to perhaps a lack of experience seeing games out. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, the first season we had such a young team. I remember the Wrexham game. Our average age was like 21.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, ridiculously young team. But well, at that time, what could you do with? I mean, the position the club were in that league, we couldn't compete with those teams. So using the academy, and also it's great, using the academy gave me the opportunity because of Mike Sam and pushing the academy so well. Again, as a fan, I can understand it being awful, but I don't think there's much more we could have done in that season with what in the situation the club was in.
What I like about the feel of the team at the moment is there's a real strong local feel to it. Obviously, yourself, you just signed local boy. Obviously, George Baps. There's others as well. Obviously, Jake's, a local lad himself.
Yeah,
He's managing. Obviously, Mike, who's done great work with the academy. It's just kind of got people in charge and people that are playing that absolutely care about Dover Athletic.
yeah, and that's massive. Having people that just want to play for the badge. And having the staff. Mike obviously loves the academy, so he loves Dover. Jake played for Dover, was the assistant, has managed. If you've got everyone so like after last game, Mitch Walker made it very clear to go up to the fans and clap them. Made it very clear, which is something we do. But he was like, just everyone, even if you weren't in the squad, just go do it, because these are the people who are paying their own money to come watch you play football, which is an absolute privilege.
Yeah. And I like things like, they obviously did the Legends match recently, didn't they? Where
Yeah,
fans had the opportunity to play against some, shall we say, younger Dover legends. But no, but stuff like that, that's what it's all about, especially non-league football, isn't it?
yeah, just trying to bring it all back together. I guess after the tough 3 seasons, if we can just, I think if we can get the fans back on board, which I think we are, just get more of a gate, more fans, because obviously the more fans there are, the more players get buzzed for games.
Yeah.
So it works in everyone's favour. We get buzzed from more fans. We win the game. The fans get happy. Everyone's happy. It's just, that's how it's
Yeah.
got to be.
And of course, it can increase the playing budget, and then you can perhaps attract other players that can just give us that bit of extra quality, I suppose, to get across the line in games.
Yeah, definitely. If it's not foreign to say, if do you want to play in front of 10,000 fans or 300?
Yeah.
Being a footballer, do you know what I mean? Even the fans, I'm sure 90% of them wanted to be footballers, so they would understand someone wanted to play in front of thousands of fans.
Now, Wilco, just finally, you're talking to the Dover fans right now here via this chat. What's your message to them for this season?
Stick with us. I know we've had a hard 3 seasons, but what we've won majority of our preseason games so far, so we're already going in the right direction. So if you just come along, keep supporting, we'll keep trying our absolute hardest out on the pitch, and we'll try and get the Dover community all back together and get us back where we belong.